Coming up on today's wrestling news, a current WWE champion's contract is set to expire in weeks.
AEW Double or Nothing main event rocked by injury blow.
Another major WWE figure is gone from the company.
And WWE want the France atmosphere in the USA. Kel Surprise.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
Yep, you're stuck with us this week, this is the news. Right, let's dive straight into it, Hamflett, with the current WWE champion who could be gone from the company in a matter of weeks. I am talking of Becky Lynch, the WWE Women's World Champion. I still can't remember which one's which. The Raw champion on that side of things. Yes, her contract set to expire in just a few weeks, according to Fightful Select. 3 weeks, actually, to be precise. No new deal has been finalised. This is sort of a regular thing now with WWE. We've talked a lot about Drew McIntyre's contract, which was up in the air, and then The Rock spoiled it and gave him a sword or something. Right. Seth Rollins, Becky's other half, of course, his contract was up in the air. Those two have signed multi-year new deals, so one would expect, especially with Rollins signing, that Becky Lynch will sign. But Fightful did note that there have been no definitive answers regarding this in terms of ongoing conversations have been going on, but she has not yet put pen to paper. She's set to defend the world title, of course, against Liv Morgan at King and Queen of the Ring, which is, a week on Saturday?
Yeah, double header. Pay-per-view weekend.
She only just won. Oh God, it is, isn't it? She only just won that title, of course, in the Battle Royal after Rhea Ripley had to surrender it due to injury. So this is a big story, and simultaneously, I'm relatively confident that she will re-sign. Yeah,
she had that very you see the awkward exchange with Ariel Helwani where he kind of pushed her a little. This was pre-WrestleMania, mind.
Yes.
Pushed her on a contract, and she said, "I haven't signed yet." And then there was, the follow-up question was along the lines of, "Well, would you look elsewhere?" And she danced around no. Ultimately, it was tricky for her because obviously she didn't want to completely kill her negotiation rights, but at the same time she didn't want to.
And I suppose a bit like with Drew, they might want to factor it into some sort of storyline.
Indeed, we can assume, I guess, that it probably wasn't in the plans for Becky Lynch to be the world champion right now had Rhea Ripley not got injured, and maybe Liv Morgan was going to beat Rhea, so maybe she'll beat Becky, and this plays into the suspense that I guess we won't have around Drew because, as you said, The Rock kind of poleaxed that one. So I think it'll play in quite nicely into the speculation around Liv Morgan possibly beating Becky Lynch for the title on Raw, and indeed at King and Queen of the Ring in a couple of weeks' time. But it does. It's so strange. It feels certain, like the two other examples, that she will sign, but before she has. It's wrestling. You can never say never, and there's far more wilder and weirder things that have happened than somebody not signing a new contract.
She might, be factoring into that, like you say, that she drops the title at King and Queen of the Ring, maybe goes away from it. Maybe she wants to just do more family stuff. Maybe she wants to do more acting stuff. She was in Billions, of course, a while back. Or, like you say, she'd just go, bollocks, I'm going to Stardom.
It
could be anything.
Yeah, they've got Becky and Seth spoke about having their daughter Rue on the road on a bus. It's all kind of, everything is linked into them working there, isn't it? So it's, Seth signing felt like a tell that Becky would too, and I'm sure it's a money thing and go get as much as you absolutely can out of that as well. But a curious one, while she's still holding the title especially. Right, I should have put an upward inflection on my reporting of this in a headline, so I apologise for that. It wasn't intentional clickbait. Unlike the title of the news, which I did write for the website, because yes, there could be a change to an AEW Double or Nothing main event, possibly. Eddie Kingston was limping at New Japan's Resurgence show when he lost the New Japan Strong Openweight title to Gabe Kidd.
Go on, Gabe!
At the weekend, as part of Gabe Kidd's ongoing fury of the working relationship between AEW and New Japan.
You call AEW fans fat nerds.
Yeah, he's clawed one of the belts back from New Japan from Eddie Kingston. It's, of course, the last of the Continental Crown that Eddie's lost.
Oh, God,
as we kind of predicted across this year. But yes, he's set to feature as part of Team AEW against the Elite at Double or Nothing in what we assume to be the main event, Anarchy in the Arena. But that might be not so. Fightful Select a report in quotes. We were told that Eddie Kingston got hurt to some extent due to a table suplex spot in the match. Kingston needed assistance after that, was able to walk with a bad limp backstage following the match. We have no idea of the severity, but for those asking, Kingston was battling a legit injury. So yeah, the limping was for real. There was a pretty dangerous suplex with the table in the match. So yeah, it was only Wednesday when Kingston was revealed as one of FTR's partners alongside Bryan Danielson against the Elite. He's worked a multi-man against them on Dynamite. He lost the one of his belts against Kazuchika Okada on Dynamite early this year as well, the Continental Championship. So he was set to figure. Of course, him and Brian have got loads of anarchy in the arena.
Brian, who's also covered in Kinesio tape right now.
Indeed, and he was covered in gas in 2022, and he was like, "Don't set Jericho on fire." So that you would assume there would have been some spots around all that as well. So, like we've just talked about King and Queen of the Ring, Double or Nothing is a week on Sunday.
Jeez.
So, if this is serious enough to potentially rule Kingston out, I guess we can expect news on this potentially as early as Wednesday, but it's something, again, they might tease out in the next sort of 10 or so days.
I do hope...
10 days, where am I? What's that, slightly more than...
It's just over 9 days away. But... I do hope he's part of it. I like Team AEW's lineup. FTR obviously makes sense with their history with the Bucks, and then Bryan and Kingston, not only two of the best performers that they could have picked for that team, but also the relationship there.
Yeah.
But if Eddie Kingston is unavailable, we can exclusively reveal his replacement will either be...
Got one. Go on, you do yours.
Luchasaurus.
Good, busy, probably on the night with Christian Cage. Well, I've got the winner, haven't I? Kenny Omega.
Okay.
So we fixed that one anyway. Get well soon, Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
We'll see Kenny Omega at AEW Double or Nothing. We can confirm that now.
Official.
First outlet to say so. So you should get well soon, Kenny. In the meantime, if you haven't, go and check out his Twitch stream for the weekend because
oh boy,
kicking ass on there.
Right, let's talk about another major WWE figure that's gone from the company. Fightful Select confirming that Steve Rubin is gone from WWE. Rick's brother. He was the senior. No, he's not. He was the senior director of TV event relations at WWE. He's been with there 26 years. Started way back as a production assistant, worked his way up through the company. This is another name in a long list of people who have departed recently. PW Insider had a report that Michael Levin was gone from the company. He was the VP of International Events and General Manager of Emerging Markets for 7 years, working out of the company's London office. You've also had EVP of Talent Dan Vittrell, who left in April, Brad Bloom, Kevin Dunn, thank God. But a real shake-up within WWE, it seems.
Yeah, this feels like two things happening. There's like a sweeping of the decks of a lot of the old guard. For, like reasons which, I'm not going to make assumptions, but you can make some of them certainly.
Absolutely.
Like there's people that have been with the company a long time that are associated with much of the old management. Vince McMahon at the head of that of course, with the ongoing sex trafficking lawsuit, WWE might want to distance himself from. But also, speculation, we did talk when the merger first occurred with TKO, there would be significant changes, there would be job losses, unfortunately, there's corporate shake-ups. I'm not worrying too much about people you imagine will have simply enormous eye-watering redundancy packages here, but this tends to be what happens when you have takeovers and mergers and acquisitions and the like. So I would imagine changes like this will continue, and names that you might not necessarily know well, but just when you hear 26 years, whatever that's 1998. So coming in right as businesses changing for the Attitude Era, and then seeing through everything that we've seen since. So maybe expect a few more of these to come as well.
It reminds me of when I was working in commercial radio and a company took over our radio station. And like you say, sometimes if they're a company that's already established, it's like we've already got people who do that job over here, so we don't really need two of them and da-da-da-da-da. They came in and they had a big company meeting and they said, guys, don't worry, no one is going to be fired in the very, very short term. And they started sacking people about 3 days later. So.
Oh boy. Great times.
But now I'm in the wrestling business, Mom and Dad. Be proud of me.
And everything's super stable. Everything's absolutely, nobody ever goes anywhere. What was it last story again? Anyway, so we'll stick with WWE, shall we? And of course, we're only a week removed from Backlash France.
Ooh la la.
SmackDown France. And of course, all those incredible reactions. And
Il est vraiment phénoménal. La 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 la.
5. And WWE won it in America, and why would you not? Of course, they'd won it everywhere.
Do it, or we'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, indeed, and you're very welcome to, because these shows, when you're watching A, at a better time zone, but B, with that kind of noise, it's simply incredible.
Germany's going to be insane.
Oh my God. Fight for Select's Corey Brennan got from a WWE production note that Jey Uso's reactions during the SmackDown dark match, let alone at Backlash itself, went on really well within WWE. It was said that the company was going to continue the dimmed lights as part of the, which is a bit awkward considering there's a potential new Wyatt gimmick coming in, but the Fireflies type look with people on the phones just been part of the presentation now for Jey Uso. That's going to carry on going forward. There was also the shot of it being used at a basketball game. WWE basically want to keep seeing yeet and the like being used in mainstream sports, and then expect to see that on Raw and SmackDown if and when it occurs. You know, this goes back to the years when something like, I know Brian nicked it, but Brian getting the yes chant over to such an extent.
Big Show getting the yes chant over,
Indeed, yeah. At various like mainstream sports events, and WWE just often wouldn't even bother mentioning it, would they? You know, I think about like Batista's huge success with Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was like, no, he's left, don't like him anymore. Like,
he just disappeared for a few years and now he's back.
He wore blue when the rest of Evolution wore black, so I don't like him. This is absolutely not the case. It seems like philosophically the company has changed its stance on things like this. Again, it might be something to do with the TKO merger and how UFC have always sort of welcomed a lot of these outside forces helping elevate the talent. Expect more of that from Jey Uso, and indeed WWE wanting that from their crowds.
Yeah, Scotland, of course, coming up, Clash at the Castle in June, and then Germany, and Saudi, obviously.
Toronto, it's an interesting test of like whether or not like Canada wants to be seen as like part of the regular rank and file, or like along the lines of these special crowds.
Do you know Jey Uso's yeet was my second favourite yeet across the WrestleMania weekend? Number one, Michael Hamflett's live show that you can watch right now on the What Culture Wrestling channel. The whole thing is on there. There's a live quiz, there's a Simon Miller Wine, I was answering loads of your questions as well, so do go and check that out because it was loads of fun, and hopefully not the last one that we do.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Excited. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE and X. Of course, you're going to get in touch with us. First question today comes from, he hasn't seen these, Mike Notridge. Thank you to everyone who sent us questions. Hi to Mike. Morning, lads, says Mike. Thought experiment for you both, but I think I'll leave this in your capable hands.
No.
Let's say WWE and AEW have both made deals with crisp manufacturers of the UK. Each champion will feature their own crisp. Who would you associate with what flavour/shape? For example, Cody could be T-Bone Steak Roysters.
I was just going to say Cody T-Bone Steak Roysters. They've got the American flag on there.
Yeah.
Like, I would say it's an American nightmare, but frankly, it's an American dream, baby. Like, T-Bone Steak Roysters are the goats. What else we got? Hangman Page and McCoy's.
Okay.
Like, leap out to me because of the sort of the cowboy aesthetic.
Yeah.
Who would be in pro wrestling right now? Because, again, Cody ticks so many of these boxes. Chris mean a lot to me. Who would be Walkers for our American viewers and listeners?
Lay's.
Who would be like that sort of, like the old guard, traditional, but you still like it?
John Cena?
John Cena's very Walkers, but like who from the John Moxley's quite a good Walkers crisps, and his face typically looks like ready salted because it's just blood red. Who else have we got in pro wrestling at the moment that's a big deal?
Can I do these now? Can I throw some crisps at you and you give me who you think that it relates to?
Yeah, we could try that. Yeah, a bit of crisp association.
I'll go to the best crisps. Skips.
I don't really like Skips, but
Jey Uso. More sort of anticipation than there's not a lot of substance there.
See, for me, Jey Uso's Beef Monster Munch.
Okay.
Like you're right. There's not necessarily everything you want, but like look at the bag and that first crunch and like the big sort of. It's like what is it? It's that maize. It's not really crisp, is it? It's that sort of corn thing. Yeah. So like it's gone and it melts a bit quicker than you want it to. But in that moment when you open the bag and. Like people would say that about pickled onion. I'm not a fan, but people would say that about pickled onion crisps as well.
Wheat crunchies.
Are we a lot in a good 45 minutes for this?
Yeah, we should do an entire podcast on this.
Yeah, Wheat crunchies, New Bloodline. Again, like I'm not sure about the stability, but there's like a lot of flavour right now.
Yeah.
And it's if nothing else, I think like that sort of again that feeling when you first get the bag and it's like these are like they're not frazzles like the original Bloodline, but they've got the potential.
We're doing a Q&A later on this week. Me and Hamflett are going to record a podcast, What Culture Wrestling podcast, wherever you get a podcast from. We're going to go into a lot more detail on this, I've decided. I'm going to get a full, because I guarantee I've missed out people's favourite crisps. I'm going to do a couple more, but we'll save the full crisp lineup for the podcast.
Is Jey Uso Salt and Shake?
I was about to say who's Salt and Shake.
You've got the ceremony of shaking the bag up. Like, that's kind of his entrance. You've got the one crisp that gets all the salt. Like, you're just, like, eyes bugging out eating that one. And then it's like, oh, God, the rest of the pocket's still to go.
What about knickknacks? I love knickknacks.
Yeah. I'm not a knickknacks guy.
Nice and spicy. A bit spicy.
People do like knickknacks, but they are divisive, so I'll say the elite.
Ooh.
Because I think people that like knickknacks love them. Like, I think they're like Champions League Chris for people that like them, so yeah.
Hula hoops, quickly.
Hula hoops. Brian Danielson.
I was about to say Danielson.
Brian Danielson.
More on this later on in the week.
It's one of them things where, like, you don't need an explanation, but it's just, it's Brian. It's Brian. Hula hoops is Brian.
Sahil Dayanan, thank you for your question. Sahil says, since the Bloodline is getting involved in Tama's King of the Ring matches, do you think they'll be involved in all of his matches towards the final to face Randy? Because I have a feeling Jacob Fatu might debut when he faces him, only for Randy to be saved by KO and the Street Profits.
All of that stuff could absolutely happen.
That would be presumably the SmackDown final, of course.
Yeah, you've got the moving pieces of presumably the new Bloodline about to enter into a feud with the Pride, so that would explain why the Street Profits are involved. I think I would expect to see bells and whistles and run-ins and all of that sort of stuff in all of Tama Tonga's matches, and indeed Tonga Loa's if and when they occur. The matches are probably not going to be where the new Bloodline is at, realistically. I don't want to go too hard in on them because so far so good with the Backlash tag match, but expect a lot of stuff like that. Look, even Roman Reigns' matches ultimately were like loaded with run-ins and interference. It's kind of in the Bloodline's MO, so expect more of this to come.
I'm very excited to talk more about the Bloodline on our SmackDown review podcast later on today, because Solo Sikoa has claimed he's spoken to Roman Reigns. I'm not sure I believe him. But regardless, Paul Heyman is his new wise man, allegedly.
Yeah. It's good stuff, this.
And not Tangaloa anymore, Tongaloa, of course. But yeah, I don't think Tama will win the whole thing. I think there'll be some shenanigans involving everyone that's been wronged already by the Bloodline 2.0, and Gunther's going to be king, isn't he?
I think so.
Final question today comes from Jake King. Thanks for this, Jake. I'm joking. Thanks for this, Jake, genuinely.
Uh-oh.
What is Wilborn's favourite Sandra Bullock film? Do you want to explain this one?
Well, I don't know how I've never seen this mistake made. I've never seen somebody misspeak in this particular way. This man here is a broadcast professional and don't let anybody, let alone himself, tell you otherwise. But he did say Sandra Bullock on a podcast, and it kind of derailed it for 10 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Like the bus itself in Speed, or the boat in Speed 2, as I was informed.
Well, that's ironic, because we were talking about that, and that is Sandra Bullock's best film, Speed 2, Cruise Control.
It's about Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. Do we need Keanu Reeves? Absolutely not. This film's so good it doesn't need Keanu Reeves. He definitely didn't say he didn't want to do it because he saw the script and thought, well, that's awful. Willem Dafoe's in it, though.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Assuming that Sandra Bullock...
He's crack, he's lovely. He can just tell he's gone like... They've gone like, how crazy do you want to make this, Willem? Yes.
There's that actor thing where it's like, what is it, 2 for the money, 1 for the show, and he's like, well, I'll do both.
Yeah.
If Sandra Bullock did sign on for Speed 3, what's the vehicle?
Ooh. Well, we discussed this before, because there is already, of course, Speed 3. It's the Father Ted episode with the milk roads.
Speed 4. Yes, my apologies. Yeah.
Speed 4 would be a choo-choo train.
Yeah, I like that.
Which I think they sort of did with there's a Denzel Washington film about a runaway train, and they missed a trick by not calling it Speed 4.
Speed 4.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo, motherfucker. That's what they should have called it. And there we go. Already a swear this week, and you got 4 more days of this. Enjoy.
Oh, sorry.
Let us know everything you thought in the comment section below.
Put a video in.
Yeah, well, check this out as well.
Watch this.
It's the live show. Here we go. Well, hey.
This one.